Okay, Wolfpack, happy Friday. We made it another week. Congratulations. This was a pretty intense week. I was pretty sore this whole week. So we're going to cap Friday off with the second little installment of our overhead squat work. So since we are going to start working the Olympic or the barbell movements, cleans and snatches, all that good stuff, back into workouts, preparing for the open, we're going to spend some time just working on some overhead squat, positioning strength, comfort in the movement, and all that good stuff. So if you were here last week, we're going to take about 75% of this, and we're going to do our every 75-second interval. This is a pretty high rep overhead squat, getting it off the rack, off the back, set up into the overhead squat. So it takes a little bit longer, so I wanted to give you guys plenty of time so you didn't have to rush through the overhead squat. So the 75 seconds should give us a little bit more time to kind of focus on the movement patterns, again, not rush the lifts, make sure that they're perfect before we move on to the next interval. So with the 5 reps, we want these reps to be definitely not the heaviest thing in the world, enough to challenge our form to where we have to kind of control the squat down a little bit. We have to keep active shoulders up against the barbell. So we do need a little bit of weight on the bar, but we don't want it to be so heavy that it's overly fatiguing, overly taxing, right? Positions are starting to fail towards the end of the EMOM, and it shouldn't be the most challenging EMOM in the world or every 75-second set. So if you weren't here, just pick a solid weight for 5 to start at, and you can make some weight increments, but we're not looking to get to a max effort 5 rep max tomorrow. Okay, anytime we're doing overhead squats, realistically, we're looking more for positional work over technical strength. Right, your legs are going to be plenty strong to lift whatever weight, since your back squat's heavier than your overhead squat. It's just more of the positioning that limits people from actually completing the overhead squat or the squat snatch when it gets to heavy weight. So we don't want a 5 rep max, right? 75% should be a very movable weight that we can focus on this high volume squat set and do it perfectly. So again, if you get through a couple sets and it feels pretty easy, you want to go up a little bit of weight, that's fine, but we shouldn't be building every single set, starting very light and ending heavy in this one. Okay, normally we do, but we want a little bit more of that moderate range weight to push against us for all 8 sets. So we want to try to find some weight ranges that are challenging. So you can build a little bit, but we don't want to be building a ton where we start super light and ending super heavy. Okay. Keys with this, right? We get it off the back. Make sure as we are squatting down, we are actively pressing our shoulders and arms up against the bar. That way we don't have any elbow bend, because the moment we have a little bit of elbow bend, we lose that entire overhead squat position. So if anything, take the squat slower on the way down, press up against the bar a little bit more, and make these perfect. Okay? I'm having trouble talking tonight. My heart rate's high. Drink too much coffee. Anyways, 7 minutes on, 3 minutes off, 7 minutes on. This has been a common rep scheme, Metcon time domain with these kind of similar rep schemes the last few weeks. They should be relatively intense. We should be getting to the final AMRAP with enough time to get some good volume in. And based off of how last week's workout went with the snatches and the gymnastics, it was very grip intensive, it was very heart rate intensive, very midline intensive. So I wanted to repeat something like this with a little bit of everybody's favorite movements here. Okay, so this should be pretty spicy. It's going to be very upper body oriented. So just be prepared that your shoulders and your biceps and your heart rate are probably going to be very fatigued. And that is the purpose of this, to work through some light snatches when we have a ton of grip and shoulder fatigue, and then work through some wall walks and handstand walks when we have a bunch of shoulder and midline fatigue. Okay, so it's going to make these movements very hard, so just be prepared. That's why we have a lightweight here. Okay, so 10 wall walks. These need to be done. We should be able to get through at least 3 to 4 per minute, getting us done somewhere around that 2.5 minute marker. Right, we don't want to be spending much more time than that. And again, with the key to wall walks, especially being fresh, we need to bust out a big set as quick as we can. Try to get a big chunk out of the way before the fatigue sets in, before we lay on the ground and feel sorry for ourselves. So when you're ready to go, get up and down the wall as quick as you can, knock out a bunch of these, and then kind of chip away from there. But we shouldn't be spending more than 2.5 minutes on these wall walks, because the next movement, chest to bars, right, obviously a little more technical. This might take us another couple minutes, so it puts us closer to 4.5, 5 minutes. We need a minimum of 2 minutes on the power snatches, and this barbell should be very light, something that we can hang on to and cycle for a minimum of 5, if not more than that. We're probably looking for closer to 6 to 8 plus reps on this barbell. So make sure the bar that we choose here is very light, and we can rip this off the ground in a muscle snatch or a very quick little power snatch. Okay, so we shouldn't have to use a ton of effort on this, right? So getting here with a couple minutes, max reps here, 3 minutes rest, flip-flop it, right? Same weight here, 30 power snatches. This should be something we can get done in no more than 4 to 5 sets maximum. Coming off of that rest, we should be able to probably hit a set of 10. Maybe we do an 8-7-5 or a 10-5-5-5-5, whatever, something like that. Still should be really movable. Probably a couple minutes here, 2.5 minutes again. This movement should be less technical than the one up here since we are carrying a lot more fatigue in, right? We should be able to hopefully hit a little bit bigger sets on this pull-up motion or whatever is less technical than the one before. But given the fatigue, right, I don't really know how it's going to go. So probably if we're scaling these pull-ups, somewhere between a set of 3 to 5, I think it's going to be a really, really good place to be. Get us done in enough time. And then final wall walks or handstand walks with the remaining time. That's how we're going to finish it off. So very, very beneficial day, gymnastics-oriented day. So if you guys have questions, let me know. If not, we'll see you in the gym. Have a great Friday. Goodbye.